Hey everybody, I'm Sean and thanks for stopping by. This is Southern Audacity. In today's video, I am not really going to call this a tutorial. I am just showing you the steps that I took to create this particular t-shirt. This is an embroidery design that I have been working on, and I just wanted to stitch it out, record it, and see how it came out. It did not come out perfect, but I do have a few takeaways and things that I am going to change to make it better. But in this video, there's also a segment because I'm using the Tajima Sai, and someone asked me if I would show how I put the stops in to do applique. So that's also going to be in this video, okay? If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Stay tuned. Okay, so the supplies that I'm going to be using at this point, of course, I've got my t-shirt, and this is just a Gildan brand. I think it's the Gildan 5000 or 500. And then for the stabilizer, I'm going to be using a sheer fuse from All Stitch. I have the tag, I have the name in it. It's a sheer stitch poly mesh. So that is what I'm going to be using, and it's the kind that is really thin, but you can iron it. You see the shininess on the back where you can actually iron it if you need to. I'm going to use 805 Wonder Under iron-on adhesive, and I'm going to put that on the back side of the fabric that I'm going to be using for the applique. And then the applique fabric that I chose is this print, and we will get started. So now I have the Wonder Under ironed onto the back, and I'm just going to peel this off. I already started it for the sake of recording it, but you can see there is a little bit of shininess, or maybe you can't see it, but you'll be able to see that there's a little bit of shininess on here, and I'll just peel that off and set it aside for when it's time for me to use it for the applique part. I ironed the crease down the center so that I can see the center of the shirt while I'm hooping it. And my goal is to have this design, top of that design, to sit right at about 3 inches below the bottom of that collar, or whatever you call this, the neckline. So that is my goal, is to get the top of the design to sit right about here. Okay, so here is where I have the stabilizer taped onto the hoop, and so it's still a learning adjustment for me with the multi-needle, the way you hoop everything. So I have to, for my own sake, I tape the stabilizer down until I get the item actually hooped, and then I go back and I take the tape off. So I do have my center lines marked on both sides. It's not very helpful because I can't actually feel anything there, and then there are nodules to find your center line on the bigger part, on the top part of the frame, but I'm used to being able to find my center lines just by feeling to line my items up. So we're gonna get this done. Okay, I thought I was recording. So I have it hooped, and I took the tape out already, so there's no tape on the back side of this. And what I think I'm going to start trying to do is just ironing the stabilizer to the back of the shirt before actually hooping it, to see if that makes it a little more simplistic or easier. So I'm hoping that this is far enough down to where it gives me the top of the design right at 3 inches below that collar line. Of course, we're going to trace and we'll be able to see, but I don't know, because I've got to count for the hoop pulling some of the fabric. So we're going to take it to the machine and we're going to start stitching. Okay, so over at the machine, before I actually put the shirt on, I need to add stops after certain threads so that the machine will stop, allow me to take the frame off of the hoop so that I could do the applique steps. So the thread color that I'm going to be using is brown, which I have back here on the machine, but my machine thinks that it is blue. Truly, it doesn't make any difference because I know that number 4 is brown, which is the color I want. However, I am going to go ahead for the sake of this video and change the colors. number 4, and I'm going to scroll. Sorry, I didn't realize my hand was all in there. It's a Madeira Classic, and I'm going to change it to brown or chocolate. That works. That way, oh, I have chocolate set at number 5. Number 5 is gray. Let me go ahead and change number 5 as well. That works. Okay, so I have the threads where they need to be as far as the colors. Excuse me. Now, like I was saying, I have to put some stops in so that I can actually do the applique steps. So number 1, stitch number 1, I'm going to hit that to make sure that it's highlighted, and then I'm going to hit the stop sign to put a stop behind it, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing with number 2. Select number 2, then go down here and hit the stop, and that puts a stop behind it. And so the machine will stop and will not proceed to the next set of stitches. So I don't need to put one after number 3, because number 3 is the diamond stitch that's going to be going around Thankful, and it can go right on to number 4, which is the final step, 24/7 365. Okay, so now I'll get the shirt onto the machine and we'll get to stitching. Okay, so I said we'll get to stitching, but really we're just going to go to the next step, and that starts with putting the frame with your shirt on the machine. And I just want to make sure it's in place and making sure that nothing is caught up under there, because I don't want any accidents. Okay, and so the design is in the correct orientation to be stitched out. And what I'll do next is I'm going to hit set. It is tubular 1, which is the 8x12, and we do want the center to be in the center of the hoop. And now we're going to trace to see if it's actually where it needs to be. And yes, we could trace. Ooh, that's a little bit big. Look close up there. So it is too far that away for the design to stitch. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to move it just a little bit, and we'll see if that works. Nope. It doesn't like that. Okay, we'll try it again. Well, first of all, that's where I messed up, because it's not centered. The crosshairs are not centered. I don't know how that got off track, but okay, now let's see where it's at. I'm thinking that could stand to be just a little bit higher. So I'm going to see if it will let me move it just a little bit and actually get a good trace. And now it still is not actually centered, and so I'm going to move it just a little bit, and that does look better centered to me. And it's going to make me trace again because that's the way I have the machine set up. Okay, I like the way that looks. Okay, so we're going to press start and start stitching, and it's going to stitch the placement stitches first so that we can put the applique in place. And it's not cutting the jump stitches because I have it set to where the jump stitches won't cut until they're a certain size, because I was doing some bigger satin stitches. So after this stop, I will go in and I will change that setting for the jump stitches as well. Bobbin Thread Break. Let's see what happened there. I just pushed the scissors on it and held it down for a few moments just to make sure that it cuts the threads. Don't know why the bobbin thread broke, but we'll redo it. Sometimes it clicks and sometimes it doesn't. And let's see here. Okay, and so I'll see if it still keeps giving me that bobbin thread break. Okay, just making sure nothing's caught up under there. Okay, so now it stops and it says stop by color change. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I'm going to take this off of the hoop and I'm going to clip the jump stitches that didn't cut, and I will also reset the machine so that it does clip the jump stitches that are in this design, because I don't have any big satin stitches. See, I have J set to J6. I'm going to move that down to 3 and we'll be okay there. So I'll go to the next step, which is just I'm going to clip those jump stitches that didn't cut and get the fabric so that the applique can be tapped down. Okay, so I'm back at the machine, and let me tell you, this is truly not hooped very well. Yeah, next time I will actually press the stabilizer to the back of the t-shirt. This is definitely not as sturdy as doing a sweatshirt on this machine, so I will press the stabilizer to the back and then hoop it, and hopefully I'll get a better hooping. But since we're already in the midst of this, I am going to go ahead and set the fabric on top and get it tacked down, and we'll see how it turns out. It might come out okay, it might be a mess, but we live and we learn, right? And so I'll just let this finish stitching and meet you back at the table when it's time to trim up the applique. Okay, so back here at the table, I do not think that this stitched out the way I needed it to, and I do believe that it was because of poor hooping on my part. Next shirt, I will definitely be ironing the stabilizer to the back. But what I'm going to do right now is just go through. I'm going to trim all of this around very carefully so that I don't cut through the shirt, and just try to trim as neat as possible around the letters, because these letters are not going to get a satin stitch. They're just going to get that diamond stitch around it. And so to spare you some time, I'll just go ahead and trim everything and I'll come back to you. Okay friends, so this is where I'm at with this project, and I am not impressed at all. I am not the greatest with cutting around applique in a straight line, and considering a satin stitch will not cover this up, it's going to be that diamond stitch. I don't have high hopes for how this is going to look, so I'm going to go ahead and take it back to the machine and see how it stitches out. I wasn't gonna chance trying to cut that out because I could just see myself cutting through the shirt. I did alternate with both the Tula Pink embroidery cutter scissors and these here small Fisker scissors, and yeah, just not really impressed so far. So I'm still gonna take it back to the machine, get the final stitching done, and we'll see how it turns out. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit start, and we'll see what happens. I had to step away for a moment, but it is still stitching, almost finished. Alrighty guys, so it is all stitched out and I've taken it off of the machine. It actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. I'm not 100% like loving it, but it doesn't look bad. Now these marks over here, I'll steam iron those and that'll come out. Now there were a few things that went through my mind as I was creating this. Number one, as far as stabilizing this is concerned, going forward, I am going to ironed the stabilizer to the backs of my t-shirts before I stitched them out. And then I also thought about the fact that I bought a Silhouette Cameo, this machine right here that I used to cut vinyl and everything, but I originally bought this machine so that I could use it to cut applique for embroidery, and I have not learned how to do that. So I will be on YouTube University for the rest of the day learning how to make cut files a la applique design so that I can make that part of the job a little bit easier. And the other thing that I thought about was how I have it curved a little bit. I think that I can make the design look I could definitely make it bigger, and I think it would be more impactful if it was just straight across, because I could get more in a space that's straight than in a space that's curved. So I am going to go back to the drawing board with this. I'm going to figure out how to do silhouette to cut out my fabric, and I'm going to, like I said, iron the stabilizer to the back, and I will try this with a different design, and I might remake this design just going straight across and send it to my sister or somebody, just because I want to make sure that I get this design right. So that's all I have for you. I can't really say it was a tutorial because it's just me trying to figure out how I'm going to do this t-shirt, and eventually I want to put this on a sweatshirt, but I'm going to do it with t-shirts for now. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will try to get back to you. Thanks for sticking in here with me, and I'll see you all in the next one.